Last month, Series 8 of Doctor Who wrapped up with the episode Death in Heaven. To me, it was an episode that was okay, it was kinda good, but not really that great. Peter Capaldi was brilliant as the 12th Doctor in Series 8, and I can't wait to see him again in Series 9. An interesting thing to note about Doctor Who is its incredibly rabid fan base online, particularly on websites such as Facebook, YouTube, which is this, Twitter, and possibly most infamously, Tumblr. From what I can tell based on some information that's been relayed to me by friends of mine who use Tumblr, as well as by reading any given comment section of any given video from either Stuart Hardy, Mr. TARDIS Reviews, or 5 Who fans, the vocal minority of the fandom is perhaps a bit too vocal. And they may in fact be that sect of the fandom that those who use TV tropes would refer to as the fandom, D-U-M-B. They see the program as infallible. They take their love or devotion of the show to the logical or illogical extreme. Most of them see either David Tennant or Matt Smith as the end-all, be-all of actors to have played the character, and have probably already given up their firstborn child in order to possibly have them return to the role, especially in the case of David Tennant. People won't shut the f*** up about him. And a ton of them are pissed off or saddened that Osgood, a character who was introduced in The Day of the Doctor last year, the 50th anniversary special, was killed by the Master in his latest incarnation as a woman who refers to herself as Missy in Death in Heaven. And there's our topic for today, Osgood. She was a terrible character. Now hold on, before any angry members of the fandom, D-U-M-B, get all uppity in the comment section and decide to crucify me saying, oh, how dare you! Osgood was a fantastic character and she was everything, she would have been a great companion and blah blah blah. Please, allow me to explain myself. Now, Osgood, as I just stated, was introduced last year in the 50th anniversary special, The Day of the Doctor. She is a unit scientist or researcher, it's never really made abundantly clear, whose only role is to have a cliffhanger for a subplot that never gets resolved. And it probably never will be resolved. Her appearance is that of an archetypal nerd character with glasses, lab coat, she has an inhaler, she's got a little tiny bit of acne, and she's a bit timid. She's also a rabid fangirl of the Doctor. Her status as a fangirl of the character is really obvious when you see that in The Day of the Doctor she's wearing a product 4th Doctor scarf, and when she says that the reason she joined up with UNIT was to meet the Doctor, and when she is being threatened by Zygons, she just sort of gets in a fetal position and says to herself, the Doctor will save me, the Doctor will save me. Just, it's pathetic. She doesn't do anything significant in The Day of the Doctor, and yet people on Tumblr lost their minds with how great a character Osgood is, when really the only thing to her character is she's a fangirl, and she's smart, and she's an archetypal nerd. Now, she showed up this past month in Death in Heaven, wherein she traded out her scarf for a bow tie. And much to my chagrin, one of the first things she says, I'm pretty sure it's the second line she has in the episode, is, bow ties are cool. Missy manages to kill her by convincing her to come closer to her while she's trying to lead her on to believe that she's restrained, and telling Osgood that if she were to approach Missy, the Doctor would see Osgood as being brave. Do you see where I'm going with this? Because if you don't, I'll gladly spell it out for you with zero restraint. Osgood is a fan insert character. Granted, that's something I'm pretty sure anyone watching could figure out for themselves if they were even remotely aware of what the rabid Doctor Who fandom was like on the internet. But if you didn't, there it is. And to boot, she's terrible. She embodies the rabid fanboys and fangirls in the garments she wears that harken back to previous Doctors, such as with Tom Baker's scarf in Day of the Doctor, and a bow tie, of all things, in Death in Heaven. She embodies them with her use of catchphrases, well, the use of the one catchphrase. And she also embodies the rabid fanboys and fangirls with her undying devotion to the Doctor, defying any logic, even at the cost of her own life. Way to go. She's so terribly and broadly written, too. Literally anyone could put him or herself into her position. And she still does nothing. She is literally Tumblr the character. Some lovers of the character say that she was perfect companion material, and I strongly disagree. No, I vehemently disagree. Her lack of a character outside of just being a Doctor Who fangirl would basically lead us to being in a repeat of Series 7 Part 2, with Clara having absolutely zero character, and the only reason she was still around was because of the mystery surrounding her. Except with Osgood, there would be no mystery. Just horribleness. I guarantee that she would have got incredibly annoying and grating after 3 consecutive episodes, tops. Unless, of course, they decided to give her more character than just, she's smart and she's a fangirl. Which, the way Stephen Moffat writes women, I don't know. Something that a lot of people don't really seem to grasp, surprisingly, is that a companion isn't meant to adore or fancy the Doctor, or be a one-to-one representation of the superfan. A companion in Doctor Who is a character with 2 main purposes. One of them is to be a beacon of normalcy onto which the audience latches on, so that we can have a point of reference for the strange things that we see on screen. And the second is to provide the Doctor with a springboard onto which he can project exposition to the audience and not make it feel contrived. Osgood, the way she is, as a rabid fangirl of the Doctor, wouldn't make a good companion. If she were a companion, then it would be just fan fiction, pretty much. Really, really bad fan fiction. Now, just to be clear, I didn't really mind her presence in The Day of the Doctor. It was the 50th anniversary, you know, just let Stephen Moffat have a little nod to the fans with someone who basically could represent the very vocal portion of the fandom. That's fine, in spite of the fact that she contributes basically nothing. Just have a little fun with it. It's 50 years. But in Death in Heaven, having her there is completely and utterly pointless. All she really does is die. And some may argue that this is meant to get the audience riled up and show that the stakes have been raised. But by this point, Missy already has billions of Cybermen surrounding the planet under her control. We already know the stakes are high. It just feels as though Stephen Moffat decided to write this scene to kill Osgood just so Missy can be evil, even though, again, billions of Cybermen around the whole planet. That is an odd-shaped planet. The stakes aren't raised. In fact, they're still pretty much the same. As for the fans claiming that the Osgood that Missy killed could have been her Zygon counterpart from The Day of the Doctor, first off, there was an article that was just put out which has a quote from Stephen Moffat saying that this is untrue and that was the real Osgood. And second, where would your proof have been? Okay, so you had one line in regards to smell. That's a throwaway line referencing something that happened a year ago. It doesn't automatically mean Missy killed a Zygon. And the fact that fans actually were willing to believe this in regards to the death of Osgood really tells you something about how death has become sort of a non-issue in Doctor Who recently. Pretty much ever since Stephen Moffat started running the show. But that is the subject of a completely different video. And honestly, there's so much to think about and so much to really look at again. And I really don't feel like watching Series 6 or 7 again to talk about that, at least not right now. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you don't crucify me for having an opinion that's built on logic. And I hope that you subscribe and stick around for more Doctor Who videos, including top 5 Doctors, top 10 stories, etc., etc. I'll think of it as I go along. Later.